up, the second to last one is Bridge City Poker. This is it's like a mix between trick-taking and card shedding, where you are playing sets of hands. So you're playing a flush or a run or something like that, or three of a kind. And the person who plays it, everyone has to follow, like in a trick-taking game, by playing something that is similar or higher. So you have to match the type of hand, but then you have to play the same level cards or higher. And so it's interesting because there's also these other cards inside it that have like special abilities. So you can choose to play a hand, you can choose to play the special ability card, you can choose to discard the special ability card, or you can choose to do nothing and just draw extra.
And when you do nothing, that feels really bad because you have to draw 2 cards instead of 1 at the end of the hand.
Because you're trying to get rid of everything.
If you win the trick, you don't have to draw and you get to lead. So there's incentive to try to win the tricks and everything, especially because the round ends when either one player sheds out their hand completely or you play through the deck of cards. Because unlike most trick-taking games, you're drawing cards throughout the game.
Right.
I think that this does a very interesting mix of, as you said, trick-taking, because you play in tricks, right? You play once around the table, determine the winner. Mm-hmm. But you're also trying to shed out your hand because the hands will empty out at uneven tempo. And I feel like that makes this really unique.
Yeah, it's just very interesting the way that you're trying to make that balance of you want to leave a lot of good stuff in your hands so you can make different combinations because you don't know what other people are going to play. But you also want to use the benefits for the benefit power, and there's interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, this one looks terrible.
Yes.
The cards look as similar to the box as possible. This was from the Portland Game Collective. This was their first game. They've since put out other games that do look nicer, have a little more flair and personality to them. But this is also a personal project, and so I recognize that, right?
That makes sense.
At the same time, I wish the rules were a little bit better. I wish they were a little bit clearer and easier to follow. But I think that there's a really unique game in here that I can get behind because it just feels different.
Yeah, it feels like you're balancing how do I keep removing cards from my hands without getting rid of too much too quickly so that then I have to draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, and that's an odd tempo that the game has that others don't. And I also like the fact that when you get to the end of the hand, someone, say, sheds out their cards first, everybody else has to score penalty points, negative points, which isn't always my favorite mechanism, right? But you get to get rid of all cards of one suit, one bridge type from your hand. So you might be holding an 11, 12, 13 in orange, knowing, okay, well, the round's about to end, but I can just ditch those, and now I'm only holding like a number 2 card. So you're not getting slammed with negative points at the end of each round.
Yeah.
There's some really good thought behind this. What would you give this score-wise?
I think giving it score-wise, I think I'd give it a 7. Like, it's something that I would recommend. I wonder how many times I would pull it out personally, just because there's so many other trick-taking games out there. But I think that it's got some interesting uniqueness to it, like what you said.
For me, it's a 7.5. I do like this one quite a bit. The biggest downside is that other groups of people I've played with have not enjoyed it as much as me. So it does seem like a little bit of a finicky game. I think it's maybe the word is marmite, in that you will play a hand or two of it and say, I greatly dislike this, or, ooh, I do like this. There's very little middle ground, it feels like, with people saying, like, yeah, that's good, I'll throw it into my regular trick-taking rotation, maybe. It's a little bit more
divisive.
Stark, yeah.
Interesting.
So, there you go. That's Bridge City Poker.